Creating ISO 3 in OnShape. So this is ISO 3, and in thinking about creating this isometric, I could either create a big block and then chip away at the pieces I need to, or I could create from the top down, from the top plane, a big block and chip away. But what I'm going to do is create this figure S on the right face, because when I do that, I will only have to remove a section here instead of removing two sections. So, taking a look at this picture, I'm just going to jot down my overall dimensions. And I can see that my width is 2. The height of my object is 1.25. And the depth is 1. So I'm going to create a sketch on the right plane. And let's take a look at the right plane. I'll be using the line tool again to create a rough approximation of that shape. So I'm going to create a horizontal line here. I'm going to come down and create a vertical line here. I'm going to come over this way, another horizontal, this way, this way, this way, this way. I'm not getting the little dots this way, so I'll just click and then join it. Hitting the escape key brings me back. And let's take a look at the constraints I have so far. So I see that we have coincident points, so these points are in the same location. I have vertical lines, I have horizontal lines, and I have one line here which is not a vertical line but needs to be. So let's take care of that right now by going into constraints. And I'm going to say that I want to make this line right here. Whoops, let's see if I could select just that line, a vertical line, and now it's lined up. Okay, so now we can start working with our dimensions. We know that when we're looking at it from the right face, this is no longer the width, this is the depth dimension. So I know that the total depth is 1 inch. So let's dimension that. So from this point to this point, that should be 1 inch. Okay, let's zoom in and pan down. Okay, the other thing I know is that my total height is going to be 1.25. 1.25. Okay, that looks really weird. So now I need to get this measurement correct. So looking at my diagram, this measurement, so I've just drawn this S, this measurement right here is 0.5. So we'll make that, oops, we'll make that be 0.5. Okay, which will leave me with 0.75 here. So I could just double check it, and I see that I do have 0.75 there. So I'm going to hit the escape key. Notice how this is light, so that's telling me I don't need that dimension. Okay, so I have another height dimension I need to worry about. I need to know how tall this is, how tall this is, and then I need to know how tall these are. So let's take the smaller piece, and from the diagram, I know that that should be 0.25. Okay, now let's take care of some of our width dimensions. We know our total width here, which is actually our depth, I should say, is 1 inch. Okay, we know by looking at the diagram, this one's probably an easier one to take a look at. Looking at the diagram, we see that that's 0.5. Okay, so let's dimension this, and we're going to make that 0.5. Okay, we also know that this part here is 0.25. So let's dimension that, 0.25. Okay, and zooming and panning. So I have my total height, I have the height of this, I have the height of this. I have my total depth, I have the dimension of depth here and here. I know that this should be 0.5, so if I just drag it down and hit enter, it is 0.5. So I think my sketch is correct. Remember, we can always go back and modify it later. Actually, let's see what we can do here. Nah, we won't do it. Okay, so here's my shape. I'm going to go back to isometric view, zoom in, and now I know I need to extrude it. So that's that shape. I need to extrude it in my width direction. So my width tells me that it needs to be 2 inches. So I'm going to extrude. The face that I'm going to extrude is this, and I'm going to extrude it 2 inches. Okay? So now we have our basic shape. We still have to remove a section of it here. So we need to remove this section here, and then we need to drill some holes in it. So the section that I need to remove is 0.75 by 0.75, and it will start at the corner. So another sketch. We'll do that on the front face this time. We'll go to the front face, zoom in, pan down, and we're going to create a rectangle from here to here, and then we're going to make each side 0.75. 0.75, enter, 0.75, enter. Okay? Okay, we'll be extruding through the entire object in the negative direction. So we're going to remove, we're going to go through the object, and what we're going to extrude is this piece right here. Okay, if I rotate, I can look at my right view. That's my back view, which I don't normally see, my left view, my front view, and my top view. The last thing I need to do is drill 2 holes. So looking at this hole, I see that the diameter is 0.25, and I see that that is, you have to measure circles from the center of the circle to an edge. So that's 0.25 from that edge, and that's 0.25 from that edge. It's going to be drilled all the way through. Okay, this circle, the center point is, this is also a diameter of 0.25, excuse me, but the center point here is 0.25 plus half of 0.25, so that would be 0.375 from the left and 0.25 from the top. So let's create both of those circles. Okay, the first one I'll create will be on the top view. Let's look at the top, and we'll create a circle. We don't have to worry about exact placement. Excuse me, I need to choose the top. Okay, and I'm going to create a circle here. Right, and I'm going to change the diameter to 0.25. And now I have to measure from the center to an edge. By the way, if you need to change a dimension, you can double click it. Make sure you hit the escape key if things aren't doing what you think they should be doing. Okay, so we're going to dimension from the center to here, and we said that that should be 0.25. Okay, we're also going to measure from the center to here, and that should be 0.25. Okay, so now that's placed correctly. And let's extrude that circle away. And I will choose a circle right there. And okay, so now when I rotate, I can see that that's a hole all the way through. We have one more circle, and that's the circle that's located here. So I'm going to sketch on this face, and I'm going to look at it from the front view and draw a circle right here. Okay, my Diameter is going to be 0.25. And I've said that this is going to be dimensioned from the center to here, 0.25 inches. And from the center to this side, 0.375. Let's remove that circle all the way through. And there is my ISO 3. Of course, you can create this in another manner, but for me, this was just the simplest way to do it. You choose which way you would like to create.